Hello and welcome to the Ink and Pass podcast. I'm your host Elijah. I'm joined by Ivan, Ben, and our special guest Marty. Today
Woo!
we have honestly a pretty exciting thing to talk about, but before we get into it, we do have a special guest. So, Marty, how are you? Who are you? And what is your favorite deck you've ever played in Lorcana?
Hi, doing very well, thank you, Marty. My favorite deck. I got really into the DKP Red Blue for a long time. I am a guilty subscriber of his Meta 5. Signed up, got the know how. But when I first started, I started playing um, with my girlfriend Sarah, and she and I just kitchen table playing. I was on a janky red purple locations. I was rocking Agrabah. She was playing like a little aggro deck. That was when we started. That was what got me into it. And it wasn't the most meta stuff happening, but it was a good time. And that's where the heart is.
Yeah, when do we ever play meta?
Yeah, no, I
Right.
mean,
You don't gotta
mine
play
was
meta to have
Mufasa,
one.
until I
so
subscribed
yeah.
to the DKP Meta. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
guilty as charged.
All right. So since we're talking to you already, why don't we see how your week in Lorcana went? What did you do? Anything exciting?
Nothing incredibly exciting. Some of the folks, I'm sure Ivan will talk about it, went to a tournament, but I was stuck working. Uh, just played regular league night. I've been jamming purple yellow control. I really like the list. I was playing a mid range version that got kind of popular. And I had an okay win rate against Blurple and just kind of wanted to up it. Our meta locally has no dogs, so a lot of Blurple, a lot of mid-range strategies. So I tuned it to add Raging Storm and some libraries and things to make it a little more control heavy, and it's been working really well. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So
Awesome. Yeah, before we get into anything else, thank you in person, I guess,
yeah,
for putting together the meta spreads of our locals. It's actually super cool
yeah.
to look at them.
I'm a data guy. I really like seeing what people are doing and kind of keeping track for myself, what I need to look out for, so I can inevitably be surprised when they don't play anything like that at set champs. But it is fun to see what people are into and what people are playing, and kind of gives me an idea of uh, what's fun to play into it.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's awesome that you're doing that. All right, Ben,
So
how about you?
basically, what
Oh,
you're saying is someone needs to come back into the local scene playing dogs and be the villain and just run it on everybody.
okay, yeah, that is something I was going to point out. The fact that we have no dogs
We have
player locally is
we have one. Jeremy once in a while pops up with
right.
dogs,
Yeah.
but he's not blue steel. I was leagues art yesterday. Austin was saying he just might pivot to dogs and just try it, just surprise everybody. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Anti-dogs over here, I'll be honest with you. You
I
probably
don't
won't see me
wanna.
on that. Yeah.
I tried it. The learning curve on it is really hard to master. I think it's one of those decks that when it's a pilot who knows what they're doing, it's almost impossible to beat it. But
Yeah.
against the regular person who just picks it up for the first time, it's a very different beast.
Yeah, I haven't touched it. I kind of just want to try it just to see. All right, Ben.
My
how was
week
your
in Lorcana, though, I've been cramming a bunch of games playing Ruby Amethyst because I decided to stick on the deck from last season, and I was like, I want to make it work. I am currently, which I haven't updated you guys on, 12-0 with the deck with the changes I made. So Colors of the Wind, massive W.
Told you.
Yeah. And then I know you don't like it, but the Liquidator being able to, if I'm going second against these aggro matchups is nice. And then I swapped out Diablo for the Scrooge McDuck, the boost Scrooge McDuck. Absolutely nasty card. That
He's a
card is
monster.
so good.
He's a monster in red purple.
Just being able to move damage with Gothel and Cheshire Cat on the Scrooge and just keep boosting them, and then I have the Olafs to bounce them. Yeah, it's a nasty combo. So It's been doing very, very good for me. But I'm still tweaking it, making some changes with the stuff I like. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's going great now, so we'll see.
Right. It can't stop going great. That's just not how
Yeah.
things work.
Is that
Right.
12-0 locals or Fight Club?
Local, I'm 5-0. Fight Club, I'm 12-0. So,
As
but
well,
local, once
17-0.
again, nobody plays Blurple, so that's just an inevitable loss matchup
well,
for
wait a
me.
minute.
So,
Nobody plays Blurple?
What?
but there's only it just depends on the week. There's like 6 to 8 people that show up weekly, and nobody plays Blurple.
So do you have all dogs then, or?
Dogs, Blue Steel, Ruby Amethyst Mirrors. There's
yellow
one
purple?
guy, yeah, that does yellow purple, but he does hyper aggro yellow purple. He doesn't do like the mid range control-y stuff, which the hyper aggro yellow purple is insane. It's really good.
Is that like playing
but
like Miko and stuff?
yeah, it's playing the
Pocahontas.
Miko. It's playing I can never remember the dog that's like frozen in the bath. That quest for
Percy?
Percy.
Yeah.
Percy.
Percy.
Yeah.
It's playing that with the Pocahontas. It's playing daisies.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can see
But
it. I
it's
see
it's
the vision.
really
locally was trying that.
yeah, it's really good. But once again, you just got to know how to get around aggro. With it's pretty easy with Ruby Amethyst because you're wanting to challenge with that deck. So
Right, and you're moving damage constantly.
right,
Yeah. Mother Gothel is cool.
love
Lumiere or no Lumiere?
Oh my god.
Lumiere. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say.
I played that deck for a little. It's like I like it. It feels good to play, especially with Mother Gothel. I know you haven't really tried it, Ivan, but she's good. I like her, and that Scrooge is nuts. All right, I'm gonna go to my week because I want to save best for last because you had an event, Ivan. Last week on the pod, I said that no more fun deck. So I actually stuck to that. I didn't lie. I just brought Purple Steel to Palette, head down, and just played that. I went 2-1, only lost to Ivan. They were good games. I don't know. I'm just not high on this
That'll be
deck.
posted soon.
He did record
You
it with
recorded
his
it?
Apple Vision. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I
That's
don't
awesome.
really. I want to watch back those games that we had, but I also definitely think I played poorly. So there will definitely
It's
be
hard
a
to
lot
tell.
of moments to like look at and analyze. Maybe we should watch it together and post our analysis of the game and have
Maybe.
that be the
Might not be
video.
a bad idea.
That would be
Are you
pretty
trying
cool.
the new
Commentary.
Purple Steel list that's been out, or are you back to like a more traditional Purple Steel from last set?
I think it was basically just the new cards that are Yzma Angel. Like it does have that in there. But then I mean it's pretty similar. Like I get putting the Pocahontas in over Calhoun because it's 2-drop uninkable. And
Yeah.
that makes sense. But also I don't like playing a 2-drop uninkable besides Doc, so I didn't put Pocahontas in. So it's pretty standard. I put 2 Benja in. That card is horrible. I hate him. I want to make a video about how much I despise that card because it like my hatred for him is so big. But otherwise
Well,
the
there's
deck,
so few items locally too.
yeah, the deck just it feels fine. It's like inherently very strong, but it just feels fine. But I'll probably just continue to play it. I don't know, get the reps. I always do that. I always just play Purple Steel. All right, Ivan, why don't you tell us how the event went?
Well, to give you an idea, it was a 2,500 prize pool event. Shout out to Dale for the invite. He ended up messaging me via Discord saying like, "Hey, we got this tournament coming up." I shared the details with Buffalo and Syracuse. Syracuse opted to go to Baltimore for the CCQ there, so we lost 4 people there. But when I was messaging with him, he ended up telling me that there was like by the time that we were talking, it was like 55 people had already been signed up, which was insane for something that's like, I don't want to say like a local tournament, but it was good for what was expected. I guess maybe they only expected like 30 people. By the time we showed up, There were 70 plus people signed up, I believe.
Wow.
That's good.
I want to
That's
say
great,
team.
especially with a CCQ the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of them were thinking like half-hour drive versus like a 8-hour drive. So they're like, nah. And they were giving away something called mystery wheel spins, where they were giving away like enchanted and like other prizes and whatnot. There was also this was the interesting part of the tournament. If you were the best of your color combination, you would get a wheel spin. So you could be the best. You could, as an example, you could come in 20th place, but if you were the best green steel player there in as far as standings, you would get a wheel spin and you could walk away with like an enchanted Dumbo. So like that was an interesting part of the tournament, I think. And I also think that did decide what people brought to it. So in a field of 70 people, and again, shout out, I forgot to mention this, shout out to Team Slab Sharks, I want to say they are. But they donated a lot of prizes. So a lot of box support, a lot of pack support, the cards themselves. They also were giving out via the wheel spins a lot of product, customized product. I'm going to actually do a little bit of a spoiler here because I did end up with this bad boy.
Oh, cool.
It's a really, really cool deck box. But it's like a customized deck box. This is awesome. I ended up winning that off of a wheel spin. Or sorry, random spin. So the meta. Let's talk about it. Leading up to it, it was myself, Rocky, Rachel, and Austin that ended up going. After thinking about it, I said to myself, I'm not going back to Blurple. I'm going to stick with Ruby Amethyst. But then during playtesting, it was like an ex-girlfriend. I kept coming back to Blurple because everything that I was doing with Ruby Amethyst, I kept saying to myself, why am I playing the Ruby part of this Amethyst deck when the blue part of this Amethyst deck could actually do just get me to the Amethyst part faster or more efficient? And it was like Ruby Amethyst had like Diablo, Sisu, and Headless Horseman with maybe one other card as far as what represented Ruby. I'm like, what's the point? I could just ramp and get to my genies, Elsas, Demonas. So ultimately, yeah, I went back to Blurple. Rachel ended up playing Blurple as well. Austin came in hot with his Ruby Amber deck, which, you know, he was scheming. He was going for that mystery wheel spin. He was bringing a solid build when he'd been play testing, but he was like, you know what? All he's got to do is be the best Ruby Amber player. As it turns out, there is a bunch of other Ruby Amber players. Really impressive too, because there was aggro version and then there was the song version. Ultimately, he didn't end up getting that wheel spin just because there was one that ended up in like top 16, I want to say. Maybe even top
I think one
8.
top 8, Austin said.
Yeah,
Top to
maybe
bottom.
even top
That's
8.
wild.
It's wild for that color combo. It really is. But it was it worked. Let's see. Rocky ended up going with green blue. So Emerald Sapphire. There was an Emerald Sapphire also in top 8, so he didn't get his wheel spin. And then myself on Blurple. All of us got 3 wins. I ended up getting 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. And it was a 6-round event. I ended up losing round 1 to the best blue steel player, the eventual best blue steel player, who was in top 8. Top 8 ended up splitting.
Mm.
When I talked to Dale afterwards, he did say that more than likely it was going to be a purple steel winning event because there was just so much purple steel on top. And we'll talk about this maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll save it for later. But blue steel was the real surprise for me. I lost to it round 1, but it was solid. The Angels, solid card. Solid
Yeah.
card.
Well, because
So I'm curious to see.
the
Go
same
ahead.
way, sorry, the same way you fuel Angel with Yzma, they're doing that, but with Goliath. So it's like the
Goliath,
same
yeah.
thing. Anyway,
It also
back to
gets rid of the cards that you don't want with Goliath, so you can refuel with Goliath. So
exactly.
if you draw 2 Zeuses and there's nothing on the board, you can, or nothing Zeusable on the board. Yeah, it's easy to filter things out.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah. So super efficient deck. There's a few blue steals, and I don't want to say all of them. There were several at the top. Dogs. So here's one more thing about the meta. Everybody was ready for dogs. Every person I played had item hate and something anti-aggro. Um, Remind me again of 4-drop blue guy.
you mean
Wasabi,
Wasabi, thank you.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name for nothing.
4
But
drop blue.
Wasabi was in, yeah, 4-drop blue guy. You got it. He was everywhere in the tournament. Diego, who was on dogs, who was arguably one of the best players, if not the best players on dogs,
Yeah,
he was right next to me. It's
that's funny.
um, at one point in time, he had to have been like, I don't know, he was at a lower table. It was not a pretty day. But understandable because everyone came equipped for dogs. They're like, hey, no matter what I'm playing, I'm not losing to dogs. So everybody was ready. Um, Amber Steel, I think there was 1 or 2 at the top. Maybe not top 8, but it was a very diverse meta. So kudos to them for hosting this tournament and encouraging a diverse meta. But also kudos to the players who piloted those, because it's not hard to pilot that into what I thought was going to be a majorly dogs format. With there was only like maybe 2 or 3 dogs players, one of which was Diego, and no, they did not have a good time. Which is interesting because, again, we're going to get into this conversation later, but definitely a surprise format for me. And then the results of the last weekend also kind of, it's interesting. We'll talk about it. But anyways, that was my experience this past weekend. Not too bad. 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw.
It sounds like a super fun event. I think the encouraging diversity was like a super cool idea to have.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why dogs wasn't super represented, so it's probably not going to make it to the top. And then I feel like maybe the more diversity you let happen in the decks probably hurts dogs a little because dogs is really preying on those top decks.
Mm-hmm.
So like will we still see that happen going forward? I don't know, but it's super cool that this event had that kind of dynamic and environment where some stuff struggled.
One last detail: not a single Emerald Ruby.
That's
You,
crazy.
you could
Right.
have
You could
gone
have
there and
showed up and
gone
lost
0-6.
every game.
You could have walked away with an enchanted Dumbo.
That's
But who
crazy.
is in their right mind going to bring those colors to an event?
Rocky was this close. He
Rocky
changed
almost
his
did it. He
mind.
was talking about it. Yeah. I think that's really cool. Having that incentive. I know, and this will work on a podcast, but I know Riftbound, for their big tournaments, they did best ofs for the different champions you can play. And I don't know a whole lot about the game, but I really appreciate how the meta spread for one of the big events. Every single one of the champions was in the meta because people wanted to walk away with the best of card. They actually want a card if they're the
Yeah.
That's
best
cool.
player on the deck. And the card's like a
Cool.
metal promo card that people are selling for $20,000 to $30,000 for some of these cards. People are walking away
God.
going, 10 or 9-4 or 9-5, whatever the split is, not making day 2, but the best on one of the champions, and they walk away with a $25,000 card because they're the only person to do it that well. So
It's crazy.
I think Lorcana could use more incentives like that to help spread the meta. Maybe some, dueling cards or something they can make promos
As like a
for.
promo.
Not that we have to copy, but I think it is a good idea for incentivizing a more diverse meta and getting away from the rock paper scissors tournament metas we're seeing, where we're seeing, the 2 or 3 decks at the top and everything else kind of falls to the wayside.
Well, there is a little way to shake up the meta, which we'll get into later. But before we get into that, we do have a question of the episode. When I asked around for question of the episode, Alec responded and he asked, "What does RS need to compete in the current meta?" And when he said RS, I thought, "Oh, Ruby Steel," because like RS, like that color combo has no play in the current meta. What he actually meant was Ruby Sapphire, but I think it would be cool to kind of go through both of them. And so we should start with the one that he actually intended to ask, which would be Red Blue. And I just think, what do you guys think that Red Blue would need to be an actual competitor in the meta right now? Because we're not seeing a lot of it. So Marty, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I think so. I was jamming some red blue early when the meta was first cooking, uh, and there were good games, but it's hard. And we'll talk about this later. But it was hard to keep up with the purple draw. They would refill so fast and just dump everything on the board. And the new cards that we've gotten in red and blue, Let It Go is probably the best blue card we got in this set. It's the reprint. I think Pete was a good step in the right direction, but it just feels so slow. Red Blue right now, I think, lost so much from rotation. It was such a great control combo where we had Medusa, we had Tremaine to help deal with things when there's one character on the board. You could just stick Tremaine after your B prep. It lost McDuck Manor, so I think it lost more than it's gained. And Amethyst has kept Genie and kept Elsa, and all of these really oppressive purple cards are just kind of keeping red blue down until the color gets another hero.
Something.
Yeah.
It needs.
Yeah, because Pete's too slow right now, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably the best draw card in the color combo. Marching Off to Battle seemed like an early contender to help, but if you draw it as a top deck, it's just a dead card in your hand. There's a lot of the draw is conditional. It just doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off of that, I haven't play tested too much of it, and I haven't worked out too many lists. And obviously, I was playing Powerline,
Yeah.
but that doesn't count. That's a whole separate deck. But what I kind of noticed was, beside, like, if you're not drawing enough cards, you need to be winning the game quicker. And
Yes.
the color combo doesn't win the game quickly.
No.
And I think that's one of the spots it struggles. If it doesn't get a draw card, it needs to win the game quicker. I think the list that I had kind of built was like with that Tamatoa and the Scrooge, and I did end up winning games against Blurple and Purple Steel. Just because like it once you get the Tamatoa out, if they tap anything, it's dead, and then you can just do anything, and they can't deal with the Tamatoa. Like this is like your guaranteed lore generation. So you can usually outpace because you're playing Cindy and Moana, so you can get up to Dragon, and then Dragon can snipe their evasives, and then you just like kind of just eke out the game before they can rebuild their board by like comboing off. So I think if the deck isn't gonna get any draw, it needs some kind of way to win quickly or like explosively, and I don't think it has that. Ivan, you have been testing with this color combo too, and you say you like it, so I want to hear your thoughts.
I don't think it's tier 1 as far as what it might need. I think it just might need the right build. Like I do wish it just had like a smidge more of something, probably consistent draw. But right now I have been experimenting enough where similar to Ben, I'm actually doing really well with a version of it via Fight Club, but I'm curious to see how it does in real life. which is why you might have seen me ask for Wreck-It Ralph's. But I'm like, wait a minute. For me, I'm like, wait a minute, is this working? And I started experimenting a little bit more, and that experimentation has actually shown me a certain play lines that I'm like, wait a minute, this seems a little bit too optimal, I guess you could say. I don't know. Right now, testing is going really well, and I'm like, is this build actually working? So I'm at that stage right now, where I do think you're correct, where it feels like it needs a bit more draw power or consistent draw power, but at the same time, wait a minute, they do have draw power. They have the ability to draw two cards or three from Time to Go and two cards from Marching Off to Battle. So wait a minute, why aren't we just abusing these draw cards? So that's kind of where I am right now. Finding ways to abuse that.
I know Austin was trying Time to Go in red yellow, and for me, Time to Go feels like such a tempo downward, like a down tempo play when you're losing presence on board to draw cards to put something else on board. When I tested it a little bit, I didn't find the right build. So I can't wait to lose to you at set jams with whatever you're cooking up, because it sounds like you really found the line there. So
I don't know about set champs, but I'll see you at locals.
At League.
I'll see you at
yeah,
League.
we'll see. We'll let you get to locals first.
The specific combo, honestly, I think specifically Bell unlocks the potential.
Oh, true.
Because suddenly you're not banishing for a -1. You're actually banishing for an ink and draw 2.
And
True, because your draw is really your card advantage from not having to ink. I guess you could say.
Well, you're also drawing 2 cards.
Yeah.
I'll show you the build. I think I actually posted one of the builds for our chat.
I think you did, but
I'm still working on it, but it's starting to win more consistently and ramping to Ralph against certain matchups.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
it plays Wreck-It Ralph? Are we sure this is a good deck?
I know.
Rocky
That's
is
what I keep
screaming.
saying.
He's like, give it to me. Give it to me.
Literally his reaction.
Yeah,
Hi,
that
Rocky.
was.
He's already
Shout out,
messaged
Rocky.
me like, hey, where's the build? You cooking without me?
I saw that. He's like so locked in on it. He just hears everything. All right, Ben, you got anything to add?
I think the only thing I have to add is just kind of to the point Marty said, is like Ruby really lost its weapons and what made its identity like keep the things off the board between Sisu, Medusa, Tremaine, B-Prep, Brawl for that. It's just like, its identity was, oh, you want to play something this turn? I'll just take it off the board. Like, but now it's kind of like, well, you could use this action that cost 5, or you can figure out some character to do that, but it's just like, and that's what Ivan said. That's why he went off Ruby Amethyst, is because he's like, what am I doing with Ruby anyways? Like, I'm not doing anything with it. It's not helping me in any way, which I can see that in certain matchups for sure. So I think if Ruby got those pieces and regained the identity it originally was, then it would be a crazy combo.
I mean, there's a reason why
it got watered down. Because like Tremaine became Headless Horseman.
Yep.
Right?
Medusa. No, Medusa.
Medusa.
Yeah.
Became
Same idea. Medusa, yeah.
Yeah.
So like it got watered down versions. Brawl became Grab Your Bow. So it's like Ruby was too powerful, so they came out with like lesser versions of
Here's
it.
Ruby children's version.
I think.
Yeah, overcorrected. Yeah.
I think this
Kids
also
Pop
like
Ruby.
brings into consideration the fact that like they might not want that to stay Ruby's identity, because if you like really look at it, they kind of like sucked everything out of red and then just put it in yellow, and we're like,
I know.
here you go. So, Ivan, you might need to switch to yellow. Blue yellow time.
Yes, I have one of those too.
I don't know. Yeah, blue red's like a thing. It's a thing that exists. I don't know if anybody's gonna play it Actually, speaking of things that people won't play, Red Steel.
Red Steel.
Ruby decks in general.
Yeah, literally. But I did lay out like all of the decks I was testing against with Purple Steel. I'm pretty sure there was one red deck in there, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ridiculous that this is like the
Yeah.
least played color. Um, but Red Steel, this is like a completely separate topic because I feel like Blue Red is very. This is like the control-y deck, and we need this. Red Steel, we have nothing. So what do you guys think Red Steel would need to even have a chance? And I want to do opposite direction maybe. So Ben, what do you think?
I think Ruby and Steel are both supporting colors. I don't think they have their own true, like, not one of those is a leading color. They're a lagging color to whatever they're paired with. So when you put two lagging colors together, it's just not a good deck. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go locations or you're going to go challenger with Mushu. Neither of those are really good. Of course, unless you pull two enchanteds of the cold never bothered me anyway, then you're forced to do locations. But it's just not, there's not enough support in both colors to make it a main deck. And red just doesn't support Ruby. I mean, red doesn't support Steel, like, at all, for that matter. Because with red, you're wanting to challenge, and with people with Steel, you're wanting to keep the characters on the board and control what they're doing with, like, the strengths and the angel and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, it just doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. It's like they both want different things that are very against each other, and like if Red Steel, they kind of want like this challenger focus, like I'm swinging in. That allows for more board interaction, but that's not really what Steel wants. It wants to like pop your things. I think Red Steel's just so they need to just like erase it all probably and then create something new because like the challenging, if they want challenging to be the identity, because it's cool, like challenging ready characters I could see being mostly Red Steel exclusive, but they don't make these cards good enough or have a good enough payoff to make them
And
viable.
to add to that, every single good card in those two colors is uninkable.
Uninkable. Yeah.
Yeah, so rough. But it's like
Yeah.
Because even the
it's just
combo
so
cards,
weird.
the red steel dual color cards,
Yep.
are all the good ones are uninkable.
Yeah.
Right, like the Mulan that swings in. So you're very priced into these specific play lines when you need to switch what you're doing because of the matchup. You just can't because you'd have a bunch of uninkables in your hand.
And
Yeah.
so many of the cards that support, I mean, if you want to build around that Mulan and you want to build around that strategy, most of the supporting cards for that strategy are also uninkable. Yeah, like the Fuse, uninkable. Calhoun, uninkable. So much of it, like what cards are you inking to make that work?
Yeah, sure. Ivan, what about you? What do you think?
What's the better deck, Dogs or Ruby Steel?
I'll follow you on this one. Dogs?
Judge?
Dogs,
Okay.
for sure.
If you then saw a Dogs player going against a Ruby Steel player, which do you think would actually win?
Dogs?
Probably Ruby Steel.
Wait,
Probably Ruby Steel.
what?
I think Ruby Steel.
Oh.
Let's test it.
I'll play
So,
one right
like-
now. Okay, editor, cut it. We're gonna go play this, and I'll be back.
But
Here-
I don't
here's
think
my-
head to head. I don't think head to head is what makes a deck the best thing, because Ruby Steel has
Right, that's
a
what
lot
I'm-
of
that's what I'm
targeting
getting to.
removal. Right. Yes, I'll let you have your.
Okay, following.
Following that logic, in that specific matchup, I would say, again, depending on the build, and obviously there's draws and draw variants. But generally speaking, I would say that Ruby Steel probably has the advantage over Dogs if it's running like the I can attack ready characters build. Especially if it's running things like cannons, twin fire, stuff that can get recycled by Shark. I'm like, that's going to be a rough matchup.
Uninkable. And grab your bow,
Oh no, yeah,
uninkable, Mulan uninkable.
Light the fuse.
yes, valid, but
But
still my
following,
point
sorry.
stands. But following, the problem with Ruby Steel is that it takes that build and it takes that strategy, and you go against Amber Amethyst, Blurple, Blue Steel, and you get cooked.
Game.
You
Yeah.
get cooked because suddenly all these cards are uninkable. You're not getting to your late game. You're not getting to draw cards. Blue Steel has the ability to ramp quickly and get to Goliath to refill. Red Steel doesn't really have that advantage. It's got Doc, it's got Goliath, it's got Shark to try to get more cards back, more like card advantage. But like what you were saying, it doesn't really have that flexibility because so many cards are uninkable. So like all these other matchups are probably really bad. And again, someone might literally take Ruby Steel and suddenly top 8 at a CCQ. And then suddenly people are going to be like, wait a minute, it's this build that made it this whole time? Who have you been facing? It's just like 8 dogs in a row or something like that.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have like 100 red steels show up to the event because then like somebody's got to have the god run, right?
Well,
Not necessarily, but
Sky
that's where I
Lorcana.
was going to.
Yeah,
Go
Sky
ahead.
brought a Red Steel aggro deck. Did you say you were going to this?
Which one?
I thought you said you were about to talk about this.
No, 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 no. I'm passing it
Okay,
over to you. I'm done.
got it. So Sky Lorcana brought up a Ruby Steel deck that, and if you want my opinion on how you take Ruby Steel to the next level, I agree with Sky. Drop Mushu. It was very aggressive, playing your 1-drop, kind of like the purple steel curve. We're trying to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop strength, but it also had light diffuse. So there were games where you play your Captain Hook into a 2-drop Diablo, into a Pete or John Silver, the one that keeps the opponent from one of their characters from challenging, or he would go 1-drop, 2-drop, and then the 2-drop Sleepy Bodyguard, which comes in exerted, and then light diffuse, so you can light diffuse for 3 right away. Very interesting list. I was testing a little bit. Pretty strong into dogs, being able to take out their grandmother Willow right away with a 1-drop uninkable card feels really good. But again, once I pair it into some of the more established blurples and yellow purples, it had a little bit of difficulty getting to that late game and getting that push because there was very little reach. Relied on Doc for draw, relied on strength and light fuse were your only real interaction. And you just had to hope you hit your Nalas and hit your Diablos, your easy two or three questers to push the board quickly enough before they turn the corner. Which I think other color combinations that are doing aggressive strategies are just doing it a little better right now.
Yeah.
The purple steel strategy that's leaned on Christopher Robin. Some of the amber steel strategies we've seen with the new Lilo bundled up. I just think those are doing aggro a little bit more consistently. But if you're going to do red steel, Sky Lorcana had a great idea. It really feels like when it works, it's a lot of fun. It goes out really fast.
I think
Was it running Scar?
No, it topped the ally scar, the one that banishes.
Yeah.
No, it topped. You topped off at 4 ink. So it was truly just a dump your hand, aggro, throw it on Doc, draw 2, throw it on something else. It wasn't even getting that far. You wanted to win before you got to that point.
that's rough because like if I'm playing an aggro red steel strategy, why am I not just playing another color combo kind of thing?
Like the fuse.
Right.
That's it.
And that
Yeah.
seems like rough. And that's like definitely not what they were pushing the identity of those colors to be. So
Mm-hmm.
if they
But
want
it's a great removal
Oh
piece if you
yeah.
got a wide board. It really is. I've had a couple games where I was taking out. It's really nice when you're taking out a genie for 1 ink. So
Yeah.
or an Elsa.
That is
So
nice.
Yeah,
I just think, and then I think the easy answer is also just draw. Like if you
always going to be draw.
like it just needs
Consistent
more.
draw.
It really
Mhm.
needs anything. Like it needs anything and everything to become real.
Mhm.
Scar was close, but it's too unstable.
Isn't it
And
also
I think
uninkable?
Scar's best in a blue steel strategy too. A
Yeah,
lot of
when
those
you're
blue
ramping
steel
up to
ally
it.
builds. Yeah, and even then, it gets outpaced by just stick a Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we just have better options. All right.
Just kind of got to wonder, like, is there maybe something that has to change in the format?
Speaking of,
Well, well, well.
why don't we transition into our main topic and to do a little refresher going into the main topic. I would say there's 4 decks at the top right now. It's Dogs,
Mhm.
Blurple,
Yep.
Mhm.
Blue Green, and Purple Steel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Blue green kind of. I think blue green
I
kind of fell
agree
down a
less about
couple
blue green,
pegs.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Blue green's only getting chased away by
I
dogs.
I actually
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
probably the order. Dogs, Blurple, Blue Green, Purple Steel. Like I said, I'm not very
I
high
would
on Purple
swap.
Steel right
I
now.
would swap
Swap
purple
bottom 2.
steel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Purple
that's
steel
fair.
is second place.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think
You don't think
Blurple
purple steel is second place?
over Blurple? No. I think Blurple is super strong right now.
I
I
think
think
it's a
Really,
rock
the
paper scissors.
past weekend was everyone was like, "Oh, Blurple is an auto win versus purple steel," and the purple steel was winning.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not an
No,
auto.
it's not an auto win, but it's also like 55-45 Blurple.
I think the people that are playing the Christopher Robin and Pocahontas and their purple steel are beating the
Yes.
blurples. I think that's what it is.
Oh yeah, just one quick callback. Christopher Robin was everywhere at the
Yeah.
event, and
I
the one that I was at too, and it was doing solid work. That aggro, that 3 willpower
3
was
willpower.
doing work
Mhm.
because it has to be addressed.
I've actually switched out. I was playing Royal Guards in my yellow purple. I switched them for Rafikis just because being able to challenge for 3 on demand against ladies and dogs and the Christopher Robin in purple steel is just, it's a must.
yeah.
Interesting. I'm also not a huge fan of that Christopher Robin, but maybe that's why I'm losing.
Probably.
It just makes
I think
certain
it's just
matchups
being
better.
yeah, being able to drop it turn 1. If you get 2 of them in your hand on the draw, going turn 1 Christopher Robin, turn 2 Christopher Robin, and immediately you're putting your foot on the gas.
Yeah.
Just really swings that play draw disparity, and I mean that's what the card's for. But yeah, it feels really strong.
Oh, maybe I have to play this card. It's
I think you do.
That's a little annoying. Okay, I'll think about it. I'll
I
think
think
about it.
testing.
Yeah, I should
Hey, guess
definitely
what?
test it.
It's inkable, so you're good.
Yeah,
Something that Red Steel does not have. Oh, hello,
Yeah.
cat.
Kitty.
I mean,
I can see your kitty.
All right. So, and the way I want to do this, because I think these are the decks. Oh, these decks need something hit. That's the main topic.
Mm-hmm.
We need to hit something from these decks, in my opinion. We have seen these 4 decks at the top for 2.5, 3 sets ish. That's a long time. For a TCG, 6 to 9 months, 6, 7, 9 months
you dodged it. Yeah,
is like that's a lot. That's a lot of time to be stuck in this very similar thing, especially with these new sets coming out and not really changing things and giving stuff upgrades. And I do think that we, if nothing changed, we could expect this meta to continue the way it has
sorry.
been. You're fine. The cat is chilling.
It'll be a TikTok clip later.
Lorcana
I did.
pets. I think we would see this meta continue, and I think maybe just for a meta shakeup, but also not really because I think these decks have only gotten upgrades and they have not been kicked back at all to let other decks really join in. I think these decks need hits, and I think the way we should kind of categorize how we go about these bans is to separate it into dogs, bands, blue-green bands, and then Blurple and Purple Steel together, because I think the way you probably solve the issue is with purple cards, and they would
Yeah.
affect both those decks very similarly. But I'm also interested when we get to those, what your guys' thoughts are, and if maybe a blue card or a steel card does need to get hit. But I think dogs is the big bad right now. It used to be blue-green, but now it's dogs. And
Mhm.
I think I'm not a dogs player. I haven't really touched the deck that much, so I kind of want to pass it to you guys. What do you guys think is like the card that we need to hit from this?
There's one card. And I think everybody could probably agree on what the one card
And
is.
I think it will not get banned because it's in the new set.
I agree, but that's the one card that set that deck. Like, that deck was good last set, like, don't get me wrong, but now it's like almost untouchable.
All right. Why don't you say the card just so anybody who's not in the loop?
Grandmother Willow.
Okay. First thoughts on this card.
First of all, I disagree. So saying that everyone is on the same
Disagree.
page,
You disagree?
Ooh.
I do.
I think
Okay.
Grandmother Willow's fair.
I think there's a better target if you're going to ban something from the deck.
I think
Oh, yeah, probably Tramp, but
that was
I still disagree.
that's wild. I was gonna also
I think-
say Tramp. I was gonna say Big Tramp.
I think a lot of people are going to say Big Tramp, but I also think that that is the identity of the deck. And I don't think we need to hit the entire identity of the archetype
yeah.
because the deck functioned fine before, and I think Willow definitely exacerbated the issue, but I don't think Willow is an oppressive card on its own. And I think if we're going to talk about blue-green bans as well, I think Under the Sea might be the easiest hit. I think Under the Sea might be the card that takes it from being the aggressive deck, the strong board presence deck, and turns it into something that becomes it's the biggest control deck. It's you're keeping your stuff upright until you can slam it Under the Sea, wipe the opponent's board, and now with Delas and Rhino, you can start. It feels like Ice Block Sisu again, but in an aggressive deck. So I think if we were to hit Under the Sea with a ban, it would solve some of the issues we're having with blue green being oppressive last set and still kind of rearing its head, and also kind of veer dogs back in the direction of if you're going to be aggressive, be aggressive. If you want to stick a Chromacon is a perfectly fine card, but it just feels so bad when they're keeping their stuff upright. There's not a whole lot you can do to interact with their board. Then they hit those, one or two 7-drop tramps, and you just kind of stare at their board until they turn everything sideways and say, bottom all your cards.
I would almost agree with you, except I think there are times when the deck just doesn't need to draw Under the Sea, and it just auto wins because of the other cards it's playing. And
Yeah.
I think like to help Ben's argument, Willow is very good at turning Under the Sea online, so maybe it's like a help for both of you.
Mhm.
But then Tramp is also a way to turn Under the Sea online, and I don't think Under the Sea is the hit because I think it's like it's this way for the deck to not just be an aggro deck. I think the fact that Tramp turns Under the Sea on so quickly might be a problem, but like you don't want to take Under the Sea away completely because then the deck has like nothing besides turning sideways. But I think Willow is just so strong by herself that she could potentially be the hit. I think just Tramp is a good hit though. I think letting them filter into anything, but if you're letting them filter into oh no. You know what? Okay, Marty, you might have convinced me because they're usually filtering for Under the Sea.
Under the Sea or Chromacon after the Chromacon build. My concern about the deck is there's so many strategies you can use. If you want to do Chromacon, you do Chromacon, and you try and catch everybody off guard when they don't have item removal, and then everybody overcorrects from his item removal, and you remove your Chromacons, and then we're Under the Sea. And then you sweep their Under the Seas, and it kind of ends up being a back and forth. And then they end up tricking you and going with the Amber Champion Mickey and just beefing up their willpower or throwing on a snow fort. There's so many different ways you can build dogs. And I think hitting it with one of the ones that is most oppressive with Under the Sea might be the strongest way to not neuter the deck completely and eliminate from the meta, but just hit it enough that you're limiting the scope of options they have.
Okay. I could see
I think
that.
if you remove 7-drop tramp, you're killing the deck. Yeah, it's what makes the deck work. And I don't think the deck needs to be completely removed from the format. I think there's also benefit for that's the entire identity of green yellow is Lady the Tramp. That and it's one of the few decks we have with a movie like sub theme in it where so many of the cards that make the deck work is within a sub theme, so there's some flavor in the deck. I just think that completely destroying the deck would change the format completely, and remove yellow green from being consideration.
I think I like the idea. So I'm going to put my 2 cents in now.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking about nerfing a deck versus just flat out destroying a deck, yeah, I don't agree with taking away Tramp. Because you might as well just take away Lady, because that's honestly more a problem
The
because it's a
5-drop.
2 card engine. Yeah, because it's draw 2 cards basically. And that's exactly what gets them back into the game usually is like, yeah, they set up board state, they do all this. It's what happens afterwards that tends to be the problem. Because you can outpace a Chromacon, you can outpace certain things. And the funny thing about Under the Sea is also the answer to dogs for most decks. So you're just battling it out for Under the Seas. But taking away something like Lady, which isn't my card pick, by the way, taking away something like Lady basically says, yep, whatever you discard, you're not getting it back. But Lady's a draw 2 card. Let me get a 4/4 out here that quests for 2, and I get 2 cards back. And it could be Go-Go Tamago for game. It could be 2 Daisy Ducks. It could be a Mowgli, because I know you're saving up for your Under the Sea. So I think Lady's actually would be a better target if you really wanted to nerf it and not just flat out kill it. As far as what my pick would be, I want to get rid of Daisy so bad.
That was
I
gonna
just
be my other thing because I'm looking at the lists right now. Like I'm looking at the Melbourne lists or the Melbourne list, sorry. And you have Daisy that quests for 2, Lady that potentially quests for 3 but only quests for 1, Lady that quests for 1 but potentially quests for 2, Bobby that quests for 1, Wendy that quests for 1, and those are your 1-drops. Lady is the only 1-drop that always quests for 2, and she has 4 health. And
Daisy, you mean?
Daisy, sorry. And that is probably one of the most problematic cards because, like, if you go Daisy, Willow Daisy, or Daisy, Daisy Daisy, it's a lot. And then you're putting cards in their hand that doesn't matter. The cards don't matter that you're giving them.
Or you're filtering out cards that do matter.
I
Potentially.
think.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Marty. No, you're good.
I think the only reason I don't agree with Daisy, and I have my problems with Daisy as well. I think it's a very strong card, and there's games where they go Daisy, 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 and you just feel like, great, game 2. But that's been a problem in the format in any yellow deck that's aggressive, and we don't see Amber Steel needing a ban. And Amber Steel has Nalas and other things that quest for 2, 3 lore. I mean, Leela bundled up that's now taking 2 hits, and we're not seeing that sort of thing be oppressive. What makes dogs oppressive isn't the fact that they could be aggressive, it's that they don't need to be aggressive. That they can take the first 4 turns not turning it in sideways before hitting you with 1 big hit after they've dropped a Chromacon or an Under the Sea. So I don't think, and there's games like, for instance, if they're playing the mirror, they don't want to see Daisy. Daisy's not even the best 1-drop in some of their matchups. It's just a matter of how much lore can they put on the board. Will it be Daisy or will it be a 1-drop? How much will that matter? If they switch to Curse Merfolk, how much will that matter? If it's really just putting the bodies on the board and they're not looking for their lore total to go up in most cases. They're looking for their mana value, ink value to go up so they can sing Under the Sea. I just think I don't know if I agree with Daisy.
I think as a
Mm.
purple seal player, not having an
One
answer
thing I will
to a 4
disagree with
health.
you on real quick: Amber Steel not being around. I do think Amber Steel is around because I've seen it
I didn't say
both locally
not
and at
around.
big
I said
tournaments.
Not needing a
I said not a problem. It's not an issue yet.
Yeah.
I think
Currently.
Daisy into Daisy has always been a relevant problem.
Hmm.
It's just maybe we don't see it as much now, but like if a deck becomes a problem, maybe that's one of the reasons.
Mhm.
It depends on how much they want to bring this deck down. If they still want it to exist, I think Daisy or Willow is an okay hit. If they want
I think Willow's a fair card personally.
I think Willow is fine without Tramp. I think you run into this issue where Tramp wants you to go wide. Both of the Tramps want you to go wide, actually. If you're talking about playing on multiple strategies, this Tramp will now give something else 4+ health, and then I can take out an opponent's Daisy or whatever, or 4+ attack, and then take out an opponent's Daisy. And then Willow just facilitates the going wide. I think Tramp doesn't. If you take away Tramp, you don't completely neuter the deck. Pun intended, I guess. Uh, because now the deck has Lady, which you said is the draw engine, and then you have Nani now, which is also finding you some extra cards to help deal with stuff. It's one of the ways to hone the deck in. I think that probably brings it down a larger notch than taking away Daisy.
How
Yeah,
much
but
should you
going
play
back to
dog?
Marty's point, if you
0? Respectfully, that shows. If you want to
Yeah.
ban Tramp and say that it's fine, I think.
Yeah, because the whole point of like Tramp is, like Marty said, Under the Sea. If you got rid of Under the Sea, what is Tramp looking for? More characters to put down? Like you're not.
Well, then are
No,
you playing
Yeah.
Tramp
Tramp also
anyway?
fills your discard for things like
Tramp does
Zombie
a lot of
Lilo
things.
and
Tramp does a
Lady,
lot of things,
but he does help with the Under the Sea. I'm just saying it's
but it
not a
will destroy the deck
trick
environment.
pony.
Yeah.
I
Bring
think
back Chernobog.
Okay,
Could you
as
imagine
somebody
Chernobog in
somebody
this
that
meta?
so
Holy.
basically, if you take away Tramp, just follow me. If you
Kills the
take
deck.
away Tramp, you're opening what is this? 9 slots. That could be other cards. I don't think
Where's 9 coming from?
Where are you getting
Explain.
mine
I'm
from?
looking at this list. It's 4 Tramps, 2 Under the Seas, and 3 Delamoons. Maybe you still play the
Oh,
Delamoons.
you're cutting the. Got it.
Oh, okay, I guess.
Probably cut
You're
the
cutting the
rhinos
whole
too.
package.
Rhinos.
Yeah, because you cut the Rhino.
This list
Yeah.
isn't even playing Rhino. It's playing Webby
Some do,
instead.
some don't.
Yeah. And you're right. As somebody who doesn't play this deck but just plays against it, I'm only scared of Big Tramp for the Under the Sea singing, which I guess you can say is the thing to ban Under the Sea. I just don't. I don't know if they're putting Lilos
Exactly.
into the graveyard. That's like still good for them.
Mhm.
And they're finding their go-go's. I would like to see what this deck looks like without Tramp. Because
It doesn't.
Build it.
I really don't think it does. It doesn't.
I
really
think maybe this deck, like, if that is why the deck is the problem, the card that is facilitating all of these issues is the Tramp, though.
So you're advocating for the deck to go away completely then?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't like aggro decks.
It's not. I'm going to stick with this. It's not an
It's
aggro
not a-
deck, and that's the biggest misconception.
But then if it's not
especially for people who try it for the first time, when
Yeah, I think they
there's
can
so
just
many-
put down. Yeah.
there's so many players who pick up dogs and they think that they can just turn everything sideways and go aggressive, and they lose and they don't know why. And it's because they're getting Calhouned and they're getting completely crushed by Purple Steel, and they can't figure it out. Well, it's because they're playing it incorrectly. They need to build that board and get that Tramp down and find the cards with Tramp and build the board enough that you only take 1 or 2 quests to win the game. if you go in and start questing aggressively and leaving yourself vulnerable, you're going to brick your hand 9 out of 10 times because you're not going to get to your tramp. You're not going to get enough bodies on the board, and it's such a necessary card for the deck to function the way that it needs to.
The way that it is currently. So, like, if it's not an aggro deck, then the Daisy ban would actually mean nothing.
That's
Which
what
is
I'm
what
saying.
you were saying, which is not what Ivan was saying. So
I just don't like Daisy deck.
Right.
Yeah, his was a
Put it on
personal
soon.
attack against
Okay,
Daisy.
okay.
This one's personal.
I think if you take away Tramp, then it has to become an aggro deck.
Let me
to
elaborate
even
just one
see-
quick thing.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I want to hit Daisy is because you mentioned this earlier. It doesn't have a lot of 2 questers, not like a lot. So like they can set up their board, they can do stuff, but it's still going to take them just a little bit to actually get to game, and that little bit of time is something that you can work with. If you take away one of their main 2 questers, that's what I'm saying is like at least it gives you a little bit better of a shot. Because you have time.
My argument against that is you're hitting a card that is a staple card in most Amber aggro strategies. And if you hit it there, Amber Steel takes a huge hit. That new Amber Amethyst deck,
Yeah.
Pocahontas takes a huge hit. And I know for personal reasons you love that. But if you hit that, it changes the format completely. I think hot take, and this is gonna sound like a segue. I don't mean it to be. I think the best ban for dogs is 4-drop Genie. Because if you ban 4-drop Genie and change the purple curve, other decks like Red Steel can start popping up and in the greater scheme of the meta have better footing against dogs.
Okay. Well,
Now, before we have this conversation, I want to go back to Eli because he was still thinking about the dogs. So before we transition to do anything else.
No. Yeah. Before we get into Genie, that's a wild statement because I don't think the curve actually changes at all. But before we get into Genie, yeah, sorry. Before we get into Genie, I think this deck, I need to test with it. So, Marty, you're probably right. It's probably Under the Sea. Is that enough though? Probably not. Because like you're not taking away one of the angles it can play or like one of the axes it can play on. You're just like nerfing one of the axes it can play on. And I don't think that's enough. Like it can play on this mid-range axis and that's probably fine. Or it definitely is fine because it does that. But then if you're not hitting like also Daisy and taking away some of the aggro end and like smushing it to be like this very in the middle type of deck, I don't see Under the Sea being enough. Tramp we can say is too much. That makes sense. I can get behind that. You've convinced me.
Mhm.
But I think you would have to take away Under the Sea and Daisy to like shrink its range. But I also understand that Daisy hits a lot more than just dogs.
Yeah, I come from a Magic background where bans are often and aplenty. And what tends to happen is when they're trying to pick bans, and I'm not saying that Ravensburger is anywhere close to doing what Magic did, or that they should be doing what Magic did. But typically, bans to help a meta need to be certain. They tend to try to be surgical about it. They try to remove cards that are being played in the deck specifically that's an issue without hitting a card that affects a lot of decks. They don't always do that correctly. But I think hitting Daisy affects so many other decks, so many strategies. Whereas we'll get to Genie in a minute. Because I can see people like you just said Genie. You just said Genie.
No. I have a direct comment to what you said, but
what was that?
I have a direct comment after you say what you're gonna say about what you said.
Yeah, I think the best way to do bans is to be specific about it and try and hit problem decks or problem archetypes, and hitting something that isn't the biggest problem in a deck that also affects a lot of other decks can be an issue.
Okay. And then my thing.
Rip my boy Hiram.
Oh,
That's what that was. That was what
Yeah,
this guy
Okay,
doing.
okay.
He
I'm not
didn't
even
deserve
very
it. He didn't deserve it.
My thing, when you said they want to be surgical about it and they want to hit things that are in specific decks, Tramp is a dual link card. Lady is a dual link card. These are probably your best options then, if you want to be very surgical about it, to hit these cards because they're only hitting one color combo. Like you said,
Yeah.
Under the Sea also hits blue-green.
which
Blue-green needs a
also
hit.
there's no argument that it needs a hit. Yeah.
So there is potential that you just take this card out because it hits both of the decks. Like I said, is that enough? I don't know.
But also, if you hit Tramp,
You're
the
nuking the
biggest
deck
thing
completely.
that fights blue-green is dogs. So if you hit Tramp, now we're gonna have a blue-green meta who is gonna Under the Sea all your genies away. It's
So in-
tough.
So we're
In
gonna
this conversation, real quick,
okay.
when we're talking about bans, I'm assuming that we're talking a totality of bans, not like, oh, we're just going to ban one card and see what happens. We're like, let's
Oh,
ban
this
this
is
from
like
this and this from
grouping.
this
Yeah,
and this
like
from this.
At the
That's
end,
why Fortisphere and Hiram got banned,
at the
not
end,
just.
Gotcha.
I want us to go through what our perfect ban list would be, but we'll get there.
Perfect. All right.
But I think to keep suspense up, and because you just brought it up, I don't want to go to the purple cards yet. I want to go to blue-green. We're keeping it for the end. So what are the best ways we can go about hitting blue-green? And it's okay if it hits dogs too, because we want that to happen. But you're right. If the biggest nerf to blue-green, or the biggest buff to blue-green would be to only nerf dogs. And we can't let that happen. So blue-green also needs a hit, because we're very rock, paper, scissors right now. So what would that be? Ivan, go ahead.
Goodbye, Sale.
That's kind of crazy because I agree, but that doesn't just hit blue green. It hits purple.
I know.
And
I know.
and blue red.
I have
blue
my
red.
choices for a reason. As much as I'd like to say Sale and Tipo, but I'll just go stick with just Sale.
If I go blue green, I'm saying like malicious, mean, and scary.
It's just Big Prince. No. Hold on. Sale?
I think
Okay,
it's, I think
that
it's
Sale is my
Blueprints.
take. Sale is my take. Ben is Mean Malicious Scary. Little Prince from Marty. Eli, make
Okay,
your pick and then we'll discuss.
Big Prince. However,
Okay.
I do
let's
want to
go.
back Marty up on his first. Ward is the strongest keyword in the game.
Yeah.
Having this thing that is unanswerable, essentially,
You need to demona it
it's like
to deal with it.
I
at that
completely
point.
agree that Little Prince is also good. I don't think Little Prince would be enough though. It's another one of those things where I think this deck needs to be taken down more than a notch. It needs to be taken down quite a
Yeah,
bit.
because you can just ramp up to the big print. You don't even need the shift
just ramp.
necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So bless you.
Excuse me.
The
Excuse
oh my
me.
god.
Bless you.
Bless you. He really does not
I'm
want me
allergic.
to fight back. Sale is an absolutely crazy card to hit. Absolutely insane.
I think Sale needs to be gone as well.
That's
but
ridiculous. So let me just say
How?
whoa.
Okay.
Why?
Hold on, follow.
Yeah.
Follow. Marty was just talking about how we don't want to take away Tramp because it's like that's the identity of this deck. Ramp is the identity of these decks? You want me to have
You still have
absolutely
Ramp.
zero.
You still have Tipo and
you
one.
Do not
kidding
say
me?
one jump. Do not say one jump. The worst card in the game?
There was a meta when one jump was your best card in the game.
And that is horrible. Sale, completely no.
Yeah, but you're saying it doesn't kill the deck, though.
No.
You still
You
have
still have your ramp pieces.
exactly.
This is This is not
You
a
just
win.
have worse
You're
ramp
just
pieces,
allowing
that's all.
card advantage with Sail by allowing it to, one, be an inkable card, and two, be a card that says, hey, ink again, but we're also going to fill your hand.
I do not think taking away one of the staple ramp pieces is
No, because it's not just about ramp, it's about the draw. Because later in the game, if I'm top decking and I top
And
deck
the
a
ink
Sail
ability.
to draw into another card, it's way better than if I got one jumper Tipo.
no.
Yeah.
This ain't it.
My opponent playing one jump turn 20 it was just satisfying because it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's a dead card now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Versus Sail, oh, let me just draw a card. And I have 14 ink, so it's fine.
And they also always draw an answer.
I mean, even Tipo lets you win a game if you're playing the DLC in the finals.
Okay.
Bam.
Yeah.
I think Sail is insane. You're basically taking away like any reason that you would play like yellow blue or yellow red or like no. There's
What's
no way.
crazy to me
I don't
is that
even
you
I don't
because if
even
you
play
play-
one jump in Power Line and it's a song.
Yeah, but if you play yellow blue and you go second and play Angel, then you can sing one jump on turn 2.
What is bro talking about?
But you're
Nobody's
saying that
doing
we're
this.
taking away. But you're saying we're taking away all the answers when there are answers.
There aren't. So here's the thing. You're saying
Yeah,
that we're
You're
You're
taking
saying
something
one jump
away.
is just worth Sail and it's fine like that. I think that's
You still have
insane.
times 4. So you still have Clarabelle, Tipo, Cinderella, and Perfect Line. That still exists. It just doesn't exist as consistently because you took away Sail. Now you could argue, okay, let's just put one jump in. Now you run into the risk of one, putting more uninkables inside of the deck and inside of a deck that's already a really tight deck list, right? And two, that late game card that gets stuck in your hand can sort of be a punish for Clarabelle, where I have this card stuck in my hand, so I have to sing it with something. Now that puts my Cinderella in danger, that puts my Donald Duck in danger, just so I could dump this card out of my hand. It seems like it would be a more fair thing to say no Sail because of all the reasons I just listed, making it slightly less consistent, making it slightly more risk adverse.
I think
But
it
like
makes it
it
like
still exists.
considerably more risk adverse. Like
Exactly.
no, I think that's like too bad. Like that's such a big hit to Blurple because of the amount of uninkables in Blurple. Like if you
Exactly. Now you got to make choices.
no, I just don't see it. I don't think it was
That's
very
fine.
clear that they didn't want one jump to continue to be the way that you ramp because they printed this card,
They reprinted one jump.
Yeah, and it's in all blue decks.
which was so dumb. Why did they reprint?
There's a
Why did
reason.
they reprint one jump?
Yeah.
No, I just
Sail
don't.
is going away soon. You got to think in the next rotation cycle, Sail is gone.
One jumps back to being the answer.
Yeah.
Do they just bump it up?
So
a
just
notch
get
and
used to it,
get
buddy.
rid of it early.
They just print a different ramp card.
You laugh,
I
but
don't
that
think-
angel line might actually happen.
No, but
I
then you
don't
need...
think that.
No, it won't. Sorry, Marty, go ahead.
It's okay. I don't think that Sail is the most correct answer for a ban, but I do see the appeal. I think it does hit Blue's core identity, but there also are so many cards that say put an additional card in your inkwell that I don't know that it really matters. Sorry, it does matter, but I don't know how much it'll affect it. I think it'll hit consistency, like Ivan said, but that might be too heavy-handed. I'm of the opinion, personally, that currently, right now, in this moment, with the meta we're in right now, I'm of the opinion that Blue-Green doesn't need a ban. If you're going to hit something, Little Prince, I would say, is the nicest option. It's not too heavy-handed, and it just gets rid of that shift line from a protected character. Ward's incredibly strong, but I that's partially from me disagreeing with your initial 4-deck meta I think
Right.
blue green is a step below blurple, purple steel, and dogs right now. And I think in this world where we're at it, if we're going to think of a perfect ban list of multiple cards, and you hit tramp, if we decide tramp, you have to consider what the ramifications are meta wide. If you hit tramp, now blue green goes rampant because the best deck that fought it is again neutered.
Right.
So then you got to consider. Then maybe you do need to be more heavy-handed with. Oh, maybe we ban something big from the deck, like malicious, mean, and scary, or and then they have to pivot back to Under the Sea, and now they are the only Under the Sea deck. Or doing something heavy-handed like the Big Prince, get rid of that. Either one of the combo pieces, they just revert back to Under the Sea. I think there's many ways. A lot of those two decks, blue, green, and dogs. The reason why they're so dangerous is there's so many different ways you can build it and be successful. This is just the current iteration with the Prince combo that is very, very strong, and previously in the previous meta, oppressive. It just didn't get as many shiny toys this new set.
Yeah.
If
Is
we're
there a
trying to be
world? I was gonna
surgical, by the way, just
Yeah.
ban Big Prince.
Yeah.
That's
I was going to say,
That's
is there
what I'm
a
saying.
world in which, like, you're welcome
No,
is like,
I don't think so.
I would say it's balanced.
I think it's fairly balanced because, like, I don't know. At least in Purple Seal, like, what I realized in that matchup is I'm dumping my hand, and then if you're welcome me, that's probably good for me because I'm playing on 2 cards anyway. And if I have 0 cards in hand and then you give me 2, that's probably
yeah.
fine.
I guess my thought was
It
just
takes away
powering,
the
benefiting
Or
Clarabelle.
Clarabelle.
Yeah.
I know. Why
hitting
not
that
just get rid of Big Clarabelle?
nut draw curve is crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Because now you can clear my board, and
Here-
I'm okay with it.
Right. Here's the
Because
other
now you don't
thing.
have 6 cards in hand.
Right.
So I think the sale hit would either be too much or too little, depending. It literally
about
just
too little.
depends, just like how it plays out. I just don't think it will be correct, and I don't think the answer is to hit the consistency of the deck. I think it's to hit the ceiling. I think you have to take away some of the other cards. Like this is just a glue card. Like Sail is a glue card the same way Let It Go is a glue card. You're not gonna ban these cards because they are just like these smooth little like upgrade kind of things, at least in my opinion. But I think you have to hit the ceiling of this deck. If you're hitting the ceiling of dogs, you hit the ceiling of blue green. I think it makes more sense that way.
Are you sticking with Big Prince then?
Yeah. I think
No.
Big Prince is the correct answer. Big Prince is your get out of jail free card. Big Prince is I could just draw off Clarabelle because I'll find the answer. Like so I think Clarabelle could be an option potentially. It's been around so long, like you don't have to worry about it from like a value perspective of like the players that have invested in it have gotten their time with the card. Like sure, and it also takes away that nut draw of uh like the one drop Clarabelle, like Cindy, you're welcome while you have Clarabelle on board and you're drawing like a ton of cards. So I could see that happening. I think you want me to be honest, realistically, the correct hit is Cinderella. But they won't do that. They will never do that. That card was printed poorly from the moment it came out. That card never should have included itself. However, since they're not going to hit it, I think taking away the ceiling of Big Prince is fine. You still have John Silver, you still have Basil. I think it's still okay.
Yeah. I think you've kind of convinced me, but not in the way that you thought, maybe. I think taking away Big Clarabelle is probably better. Because again, one of the reasons why Big Prince is so devastating is because you're trying to dump your hand so you don't get caught with a hand size that was too big for Clarabelle to copy. but then you get punished for putting everything on the board, and they just Prince Philip. If it was just Prince Philip, and I knew you didn't have Clarabelle in your deck, and maybe you still run Bend, I would still be cautious. But at least I know, like, if you're spending all these resources to get Big Prince out, now you have 2 cards in hand. Now I just got to draw my Let It Go, my Hades, my Horseman Strikes, like removal. I just got to remove 1/6 guy with evasive who does
Is
quest for 3, yes, but again, I'm not worried about Clarabelle at that point, so like now I can hold on to
Okay.
some resources.
I think if Big Clarabelle gets hit, the deck dies.
I
That's what I'm saying.
actually
Make
agree
up your
with
mind.
that.
The deck
Are we doing
fully
bans to
dies.
kill decks? Or are we doing things to be balanced?
And you're also then
Where are you
killing
guys going with this?
Right.
I
Because if
arguably
I
you
the
don't
think
think
of,
best
I don't think
green
you can.
draw card.
Yeah, I don't think you can absolutely nuke the decks because then I think players are mad about the money they've invested. Like decks are expensive in this
yeah,
game.
but they did that with Hiram and Fortisphere
And people are still angry about it.
Yeah.
and Bucky.
People left the game.
Right. And that's
And
what
Bucky.
People
I'm
left the
saying.
game.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
You've seen it not work in the past. They're very clear that they want to improve on what they've done in the past. That's why they said they're not really gonna errata if they don't have to, because they saw that that was very bad with Bucky. Because like ultimately, if this was a digital card game, maybe you see what an errata on sale does, where it doesn't draw a card, and see what happens there. They can't do that,
Yeah.
so we have to figure out some other option.
But for the same reason they won't hit Cinderella, wouldn't you think the same thing about Clarabelle? She's a legendary card.
Except the product with
She's
Cinderella
rotating
came
out.
out recently, and Clarabelle has been out for a very long time.
Fair. But why would they also ban a card that's about to rotate out?
To make the meta healthier, I think. If your players are having a bad enough play experience that they're leaving before the meta rotates, what's the point of waiting until the meta rotates?
Yeah.
I'm going to distinguish the conversation, by the way.
But what was that?
I say I'm going to distinguish the conversation. I'm going for what things I want to ban, because you guys are talking about, okay, what's healthy for the game. Eli's talking about that. You're talking about what's balanced. You're talking about no. I'm targeting things that I take personally.
I think balanced and healthy
Like
for
you
the
have
game.
offended me.
I think balanced and healthy for the game are very hand in hand. I think when stuff is more balanced and less oppressive, people have a better play experience, and they can play more decks that they would actually like to, and less decks are getting completely pushed out.
Realistically, it's the one-sided board wipes.
Yeah, one-sided board wipes are a
Under
problem.
the Sea and Big Philip. That's like,
and it was
for the
Big
same
Sisu.
reason.
And Wreck-It Ralph.
Sisu, exactly.
Wreck-It Ralph's almost a full board wipe. You have to play around it to not be a full board wipe, kind of thing. Anyway, I think the hit is Big Philip to just to just cut off the top of the deck.
If we have to hit something, yeah, one of the combo pieces.
Okay.
I think
What's the next deck?
I don't want to go there yet. I want to keep building suspense.
Yes. No.
I don't think.
What other decks would be
Purple Steel?
I don't think Purple Steel has the ability to hit.
Oh yeah, yeah they do.
I don't think Purple Steel specifically.
Purple Steel has the same cards that Blurple needs to be hit.
Steel
Right. I think we just get
see a
purple.
hit because you hit purple, and because there isn't a steel hit that you would ever do. These cards are not good enough in steel. It's just a good supporting color.
Doc.
No.
No.
Brother, what are you talking about?
You could never get rid of Doc.
We're just going for clickbait. Sail Doc.
Yeah, I'll put those all in the thumbnail.
Sail Doc and Clarabelle and Daisy. And Daisy.
It's just me holding all the cards. Okay. So are we talking about Purple Steel or are we talking
We're just talking about
We're gonna talk about purple.
Purple.
Because
okay.
they're kind of crossing over a little because Sail is actually a hit to Blurple. Taking away Sail is like a huge hit to Blurple. It's not the way that I think they would want to hit Blurple though. Because I just don't think the vibes seem off if you hit Sail in Blurple. And I don't think Genie is the card. I don't
necessarily think Genie's the correct card either. I just meant it's one that sees play in all purple decks.
My correct card for purple or blurple is Elsa.
Correct.
Yeah.
The correct card is Elsa.
Mhm.
It has always been Elsa. It will always be Elsa. Hit Elsa. Anyway, anybody else? Everybody else, you can go ahead with your card.
I don't disagree. I think as long as we hit something in that curve, especially if we want to talk about Blurple, going that one drop Sailor Tipo into Genie into Elsa and now into Demona. Hitting that curve, even if you miss a piece of it, but you got everything else, still feels so oppressive. And if you don't do Genie, you do Dumbo. It's fine. I just think something needs to go from the purple curve because it's just so clean. And having half the purple cards be evasive, half of them say draw a card somewhere on their text. It does everything so well that other colors aren't able to keep up with. And I don't know if there's one correct answer. I just think the problem lies more within the color identity itself of Amethyst right now and how we best target it. And my personal choice would be Genie because, they called it the Genie Wars. When they play two purple decks, it's who can stick Genies the longest and have them turn sideways the longest. Being able to replace itself immediately, it's got the 4 willpower, so it's sticking around, and being able to quest for 2, just so much value in one card. It's not great when you're behind, but you can get ahead so quickly. It really swings games in a very oppressive way. Mostly because other colors can't do what purple does.
And I think that brings up something in my mind. Like, if you take away Elsa, it might not be enough because Elsa was your answer to Genie. Like, your opponent playing Genie, you have to play Genie in response or an evasive and then play Elsa. But
then you just pivot to Dumbo. But right. I just think something needs to go from purple.
I think just pivoting to Dumbo is probably fine. It kind of touches on the thing about like the flexibility of decks and like.
And then Dumbo becomes an $80 legendary.
Right. They're not going to ban Dumbo.
No. I don't think they should.
I don't think they should either. I like Dumbo. I think Dumbo makes sense. You play around the evasives. Steel has slightly more evasives, whatever. Ben, what do you think the card is?
In purple?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, it's gotta be Genie. Over Elsa. I don't think hitting Elsa is a big enough impact.
I think... Keep going.
I think in her prime, which is right now in last set, Elsa probably could have been considered a legendary. She was that good. The being able to tap something and rush in immediately is just ridiculous. But I think, like Marty said, putting Genie down, replacing himself, questing for 2 with 4 willpower, that's just really good. Now, there are answers for it. You've got the Horseman, you've got
Strikes.
Slushy, Horseman Strikes. There are a lot of answers for it. But when you're playing against Blurple and they're getting Genie out on 3, you're not really answering that immediately with those colors that can answer it.
Yeah.
Well, you are answering it with Horseman Strikes. To be fair, you do answer that card on curve, unless you're expecting Dumbo,
you do,
I guess.
But it's generally, as someone who's been playing yellow-purple, it doesn't always feel good.
It is a tempo loss.
It's a tempo. It's a down tempo.
You're taking a whole turn off. Yeah.
But you're not sticking a card on. You're not sticking your own Genie on the board.
Yeah, so, just for them to play Elsa next turn to tap down whatever you have sitting on the board.
And then you've got nothing, and they've got Elsa. Yeah. So
I do want to go back to the thing I said too about the Genie into Elsa swing in to your opponent's Genie or whatever. That problem always exists though, and those mirrors are horrible. Like, because Elsa exists, if you're going second, sometimes it's just, or if you're going first, sometimes it's just like completely better, and the game is just decided from that point once the Elsa is played. Not once the Genie is played, it's once the Elsa is played in response.
Yeah. I think personally it's with these purple cards, Genie and Elsa specifically. Less so Dumbo because not every purple deck is playing Dumbo. Even Purple Steel has moved off of it for Yzma. I just think every purple deck is trying to play Genie on 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Every purple deck is trying to play Elsa on turn 4 or 5. So when the play pattern for all these decks is the same, and you look at the meta shares, and these purple decks seem to always be rising to the top, you gotta wonder what can change, what can be done to change it, and it just feels like Dead Genie is the toughest one to deal with.
I guess my question would be, if Genie wasn't evasive, would that fix the problem?
Yes. 100%.
However, I think there are enough answers to Genie now, especially with Sven existing, because Sven is a card that would then you would have to find a way to fit this into a deck. Also, I have something else about Sven and Elsa because I have not been convinced yet that Genie is the hit. But I've always thought Genie is less
I'm not even
problematic than
convinced. I
Rabbit.
just know something's gotta go.
Something has to go. Something has to go. But
Yeah.
Ivan, what do you think has to go?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in Blurple again?
Yeah.
Sail.
In purple. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. It's hard because it kind of is. The problem with Genie is that you can't stop Genie. It already replaced itself.
Mhm.
Like the best you could do is the Horseman Strikes, because then at least your card replaced itself too. But that exists inside of Amber, and it's a dead card against dogs.
But then is your answer to
Um,
Ben's question no to his question of if it's evasive, would it be a problem still?
No, if it was not evasive, it would be a more fair card.
Right, so then the value of it replacing itself is not exactly the problem, is what I'm trying to say.
It's the card. It's the card as a whole.
Yeah.
Its stats, the fact that it can quest for 2, the fact that it's evasive, the fact that it replaces itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that it costs 4. Look at Elsa, the 1/3 Elsa that draws a card, replaces itself, right?
Mhm.
It's not like massively played, but it's not bad enough where you shouldn't play it. Like, it can be played, especially since you can shift with it and whatnot, but like, it's not game breaking. Now
It's
you
even
give that
equal.
Elsa, you give that Elsa evasive, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, evasive and quest for 2.
Yeah, it'd be like giving the
Well, that
purple
also only
Tinkerbell
wait, does that
the
also quest for
3-drop.
Don't
No.
quest for 1.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
That quest
It'd be like giving the 3-drop purple Tinkerbell that's a 1/3 quest for 2 evasive when you play this character, draw a card. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which would warrant going up 1 ink cost and being uninkable. And it also gets the stat buff. That's the thing. It also gets the stat buff where it is then +1/+1, uninkable, and cost 1 more. I think it was a
Now,
little overtuned.
there's also the argument to be made for Dumbo. Again, if we're talking about this in a void where we don't care when a card came out, is it healthy for yada yada? Like, Dumbo brings people back into a game. Like, you can have an empty hand, and now I have a Dumbo, and now because I saw my Dumbo before you did, and this happened actually. I was able to see Dumbo before my opponent did. So I was able to draw 2 cards per turn, and my 2 cards turned into 4 cards. My 4 cards turned into 6 cards, and my opponent's playing top deck Basil, top deck Royal Guard, top deck something. Just
Yeah, and you were
being able to
using
go
what your
chain,
Genie
chain, chain,
to
chain,
tap
chain.
for.
Yeah,
However,
that's what
that
I'm
is
saying.
still less like that presents itself more than Elsa being a top deck coming in, being able to do something immediately with Rush.
I think I'm okay with Elsa. Elsa is almost needed for the aggro matchups, though.
So
But also, technically, though, when you play Dumbo, if you're depending on what turn you play him, you can get an effect immediately
yeah, you
with your
can
other
then
Yeah.
evasive
tap your
characters.
genie, but okay,
That's what I'm saying. In the
if you're
void,
tapping your
there's
genie,
probably multiple bands that need to happen.
if you're
Yeah.
tapping your genie to get one less lore to get the draw, then it's like okay that Dumbo and Genie exist at the same time because there is still this like opportunity cost of drawing a card, which is not a big thing. It's just like a little extra.
I think the main issue with Dumbo though is just the fact that you're gaining a lore and drawing a card off your evasives.
I just don't
So
think Dumbo is
like you
actually
said,
fit.
it's not like so bad that they're doing it with their genie, but like okay, I'll do it with my Elsa. I'll do it with my Slushy. I'll do it with my, you know what I mean? So it's the fact that you're simultaneously gaining a lore and drawing a card. Whereas like you're not hindering them for not questing this turn by just making it draw a card. You're allowing them to say, "Hey, I'm not going to quest, but I'm still gaining a lore."
Yeah, I think generally the lore is less important than the card though, but I still don't think the card and the lore is worth the ban.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like Genie's probably going to be the pick, but like I'm just saying, like it's worth the conversation to talk about Dumbo,
So
which we just did.
yeah.
So
So
what's next?
for Elsa, this card is so powerful that they've split it into two uninkable 4-drops. They've split Elsa into Isis and Sven. And if it's really that crazy that they're both uninkable and 4-drops, this card is like clearly too powerful. And like I think the Genie Wars will then have to get answered by Sven's, and it replaces your evasive for your Dumbos. But like you're also playing 1 ink less of value if you're going 4-drop into 4-drop. Same thing with like if instead of playing Elsa now you're playing Dumbo. But like if you have a genie, then you're tapping for the 1 and drawing a card. But like Elsa is now split into 2 cards. We now have a replacement. I think it's time to let her go. Pun intended.
That's another good point. She sings "Let It Go" in purple.
True.
Yeah.
But I think
That's why Hades is so good right now.
Hades is like
Yeah.
I think you just leave Hades in the deck, and that's like a much more fair card than Elsa.
Is it both?
Genie and
Genie
Elsa.
and Elsa.
backfield is
That
Genie and
was
Elsa?
also going to be one of my questions. It could just be both.
I mean, realistically, there are so many arguments for it just to be both because, like, Genie's great stats, draws a card, quest for 2. Elsa immediately hits the board and changes the game. So, like, there's an argument for both. Obviously, both are leaving at the exact same time, so purple's going to be kind of crazy once we get to that point. But right now, that's the changes that need to be made for it to
I
make
just
sense.
think that right now that purple is warping the meta in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
The way that it's currently built. And I think that when you are building something yellow red or you're building something green steel or any of the other colors that are underrepresented, you have to think about how does this beat purple? What can I do to keep up with purple or dogs? Dogs is the only deck currently that can keep up or outpace Blurple, and because it's a combo control deck. It's just, as someone who loves the purple decks, who has been running a purple deck since
Oh my
the
god, me too.
DKP list got kicked, I can see how oppressive it is, and I can see the look on people's face when I drop Genie, it just feels so bad when the other colors can't deal with it, and I'm also just drawing so many cards that I can do whatever I want.
I have
I mean,
played
so many purple cards just say draw a card.
the Purple Steel Mirror and the Blurple matchup as Purple Steel enough times to know that Elsa and Genie are what wins and loses the matchup. And Elsa is really the big one. And then Genie is like this supporting card that is extremely strong. So I think hitting both of them makes sense. That is like severely hitting the deck though. like
Yeah.
severely. And like I don't know if they want to like it's always easier to cut your hair a little bit and then um cut it even more. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just cut Elsa and then you see what happens and then you cut Genie if it's still a problem, or do you just whoosh, chop it off, it'll grow back? Metaphors? I'm a metaphor guy.
Are you?
No. I think you could tell no.
Yeah,
Um,
I just think it's hard because like we went from a rabbit meta to a genie meta to like what's the next draw thing? Because you know it's coming. What's the next play this card? It's gonna draw something.
There's still that Pinocchio. Let's be real.
Okay.
Okay, pal.
All right.
I
There's
don't know.
Bambi
I
too.
think the fact that like if you take away Elsa, there's still options. Makes sense. If you take away Genie, there's not really options. Like you're just like then maybe that's a reason to ban it. Like there isn't a great just easy replacement for it.
sure
So
there
No,
is.
but then you play Sven or Isis Vanderchill on the curve.
and you're doing that
Or
if
Iago,
you
or
do
Or
Demona,
Iago,
or
Dumbo.
any other 4-drop you feel like playing.
so Iago's like a fine answer to Genie though. So maybe you just start playing Iago more. So I
No,
don't know.
because dogs exist.
Right, but what color is Iago in?
Purple.
Then he's still got to play purple to answer Genie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like then your yellow cards
That's the
get
problem we're
better.
having.
Right.
There's just so many
The
good evasive
the
threats in purple that also say
the
draw a card
the
thanks to Dumbo.
purple v purple is like the game right now, and then there's other stuff going on. I think you could say just like the more we talk about it, the more
Well,
interested I would be to
what
see a
what's
Genie and
gonna
Elsa.
impact purple steel more, Genie or Elsa?
Elsa, I think. Yeah, Elsa. Elsa is just so good. Elsa is so oppressive. Just, ugh.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Elsa is a candidate, and I think Elsa is incredibly strong. My concern is that would it be enough?
I think it is potentially not enough. But
I've been saving something, by the way. So if you're okay with maybe transitioning a little bit, I've been saving something a little special.
uh-oh.
And I know you might not like it, but I'm going to bring it up because it makes for good content.
He has an email from Ravensburger that Sal's getting banned.
He is part of the Ravensburger development team.
What if we had a format where it was maximum 2 copies of a card?
That's horrible. Sorry.
Thank you. But this is why I bring this up. If you have a max of 2 of your card, suddenly your usual card goes down to 30.
Yeah.
Now you have to find 30 tech cards, for lack of a better term. 30 cards for you to play with. You wanted to try out Sven and Isis Vanderchill. Maybe you want to try out now you're gonna
One
have to
job.
run 2 Tipo, 2 one job. Now you gotta try out something besides 2 Elsas. Maybe you try the Ursula out. So you're gonna have these massively different games going on right now. And just my imagination goes crazy because I just mentioned like 4 or 5 cards, and you still have to come up with another 10
Yeah.
to make up. So now you're looking at and we have our card pool right now is big enough where we could support that. Because now you're going to be like, Slushy, who plays that? Or you're going to do exactly like you're just going to have this random stuff like, okay, he's got library in his deck, he's got locations in his deck, but he's also got this other stuff in his deck. So for me, I'm wondering like, I like the conversation of banning, but what if we just have like in Yu-Gi-Oh, we had a limited list where you can only have
Mhm.
X amount of
Okay.
cards
So like
in
a
a
restriction.
deck.
Yeah,
Like a
restriction as
restriction.
well. You play one of a card.
I don't like that personally. No. Okay,
I'm okay with it.
I
I just
will.
like bringing it up.
I will say why. This is definitely a thing that happens in games. There are power cards that are too strong, but maybe they're not strong when there's a bunch of them. I don't think the problem with like Elsa is the fact that you can play four of her. Like, I mean, it's one of the problems, but like you're basically just making the ceiling more inconsistent. And I don't like that. I don't like ripping away the consistency for still having these blowout turns. Like if I get Genie into Elsa swing blowout, that's like then it's gonna create these feel bad situations where it's like, oh my god, they drew their two of. I just don't think that's something that we really need in this game, and I think with everything like all of our other options, like it's a thing potentially for Big Prince, I guess, to be like you can only play two. That way you have to be more like you can consider more
You have to be more mindful of what you're inking. So
right.
I don't know about you. I'm sure you do this. Most good players do this. You're usually keeping track of what your opponent is inking and how many you have to say, like, okay, he just inked one of his Elsas. There's still three more I have to look out for. He just inked the Cheshire Cat, right? That's one down. He just, okay, Purple Steel. He just inked a Strength of a Raging Fire. Now I know he's only got three left, or like whatever the situation is. Like, I'm keeping track of these cards. So I guess one of the points that I'm making is if you only have two of a card, now you're really hurting when you ink one of them. Or if you're going to use it, you better use it at the best time possible, because once I get rid of it, you're not going to have too many more copies I have to worry about. I don't have to worry about a third Demona. Now these games are going on a little bit more, there's a more differential within them,
I
which
think it
could lead to having more fun. But again, just one man's opinion.
potentially. I think
I'm curious to hear, you know.
maybe in this game that's where like the uninkableness of a card then kind of makes the card restrict itself. Like Under the Sea is only played as a two of. If it was inkable, would there be more of it played?
Yeah.
So
Elsa to be uninkable.
right. So like maybe that's how they should use the uninkableness of a card. But I don't know. I don't like making the high roll more feels bad. If you know what I mean. But yes, I'm also curious what Ben and Marty have to say about this.
I mean, I came from Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm used to it. I always thought that was a good idea instead of banning cards. Like if I knew that Elsa, for instance, was limited to two, and like Ivan said, you ink an Elsa, oh, I'm chilling. You got one more in your deck? Cool, I'm good. Whereas like if we just ban it outright, I mean, what good is that gonna do? It's just gonna deter people from playing the game. I mean, there are many times, I can't lie, that I was playing like 2 or 3 sets ago, yellow purple, and I went Elsa top deck, Elsa top deck, Elsa, and my opponent scooped and left. But it's like getting rid of those cards because it's too oppressive. It's like it's just hard because the meta has changed so much since the start of the game. So like when the game very first started, it was like Ruby Amethyst and Ruby Sapphire, and then we kind of moved away from that, and Steel Song, and then we moved away to that to kind of like what the meta was last set to the meta is now. But don't get me wrong, I think they're spending too long on these meta blocks. So like these three decks have been meta for 3 sets now. Okay, well, why isn't other thing getting
I
support?
think bans need to happen more in this game.
I don't think bans do though. I don't think bans are the answer.
I don't think
need
restricting
to be
cards is
more-
also the answer though.
I think they need to be more comfortable designing
Powerful cards.
powerful cards
I would agree with
that
that.
aren't in purple, and then be more comfortable banning more. I don't think my hot take for this episode is I don't think right now anything really needs to get banned. I think we're in a meta for a little bit longer where we're going to have rotation in a couple sets. It's the end is coming for a lot of these powerful cards we're talking about, and the meta is constantly changing and evolving. There's constant, we see the same decks up at the top, but it's because they're powerful and no new powerful cards coming out to contest that purple curve or the tramp. So if they were to be more heavy-handed with bans, I think it would deter people from playing the game or getting comfortable with trying cards. But if they came out with more powerful cards, yes, the format power level spikes, but it also makes possibly more strategies viable.
Yeah.
Whereas currently we've been playing, Genie into Elsa for how long now?
Well,
Because nothing can outrace and outpower that.
while I would agree that they need to feel comfortable printing more powerful cards, because we're just seeing upgrades to decks. Everybody just sifts through the cards and finds the one upgrade or the one card that they're throwing in their deck. Like, oh yeah, I'll throw Grandma Willow in, and then the deck just gets better, and it's only
A
one
lot of
card from the
a
set.
lot of Blurple just added Let It Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purple Seal added Angel. Pocahontas maybe.
Angel and then
Robin,
pivoted from Dumbo to
maybe.
Yzma, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these aren't actually big changes that are happening, but I think they need to also feel comfortable when that happens, and maybe the meta doesn't play out the way they thought it would. I think they need to be more comfortable taking a card out of the format via ban and not restriction. I just don't like restriction because I don't like making people play less copies of a card in their deck. I just think it's not necessarily the direction I personally want things to go in. If they do it, I guess I won't be mad, but I won't be super happy about the decision. But I think if they're going to surgically think about what card would need to go, I think it's much easier to tell a player, like, that card's banned than, yeah, you could play 2 of them. I think it's a little weird. But
Well, it
that's
could
like kind
affect card prices too and availability.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, if you ban a card outright, the price goes from whatever it is to pennies. If you restrict it, it still keeps some value, and people aren't losing. I mean, if you ban Dumbo right now, Dumbo, what is a $40 or $50 card? I actually don't know the current price as of
something
today.
like that. I'm not sure. But I also think
We'll
they're
say $40. If you ban Dumbo right now and every purple player loses $120 in value of their cards, they're going to be upset. If you limit it to 2 and they lose, or $160, and you limit it to 2 and they drop $80, it still hurts, but they can still get some value.
I think they're cognizant of the
And
secondary
I don't think
market.
they should be concerned of the secondary market, but it is something to consider for player feedback.
Well, I think they definitely
I mean, players quit when Hiram got banned. Can you imagine if Hiram was actually
And
worth
he was
money?
Yeah.
Like big money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people leaving when Hiram got banned is like kind of ridiculous. Maybe that's my hot take. Like, I get it, your deck died, sure, but
It didn't.
but yeah, it didn't, and also we have rotation anyway. Your deck was just too powerful. Like, as that happens in card games. I just think
Dumbo is $47 now
47 Dumbo?
on the way up.
I think that brings up a whole nother question of how expensive these cards are. But
Yeah.
We can get into that another.
yeah,
it's already been a long episode.
it's gonna be long. I do think though, I do think that something needs to get hit from this format, because I don't think sitting in this format for the next 2 months is a good option.
I think there's still time
Yeah, I mean,
for
we're seeing
new decks to
every
come
week.
up
I mean,
and strategies.
yeah, we've been seeing something new pop up every week. And I mean, with the DLC Ghent is this weekend, and who knows, being a paper format, it's not just everyone playing online because there's no current client, but being a paper format, a lot of these testing teams may have found something crazy that they've been saving for Ghent that
Yeah.
nobody knows about yet. And next week's podcast, we talked about how oppressive Ruby Steel with some crazy card we forgot existed is. We don't know what to expect each week. And I
More
don't
realistically,
think
blue
any
steel.
deck is particularly oppressive enough to warrant a ban yet.
I think
And I think if you hit something with a ban, you have to hit a few
you have
things
to hit
because you make
the
everything
big
else
3 or
stronger.
4.
Yeah, because we're in a big 3 meta where Blurple, Purple Steel, and Dogs is very strong. And then you've got a whole, I mean, there's so many tier 2 decks that could be vying for a chance. And we're talking at the DLC, those are the big 3. We don't see Dogs locally. It's one of the top 3 decks. Nobody plays it locally. We have a very diverse meta here in our local meta. So what the game as a whole is experiencing isn't necessarily what everybody's experiencing. I mean, Ben, you said no one plays Blurple where you play.
Nope.
There's no one deck that everybody is migrating to and sticking to, and I think that's the point when you got to start talking bans. When there's one deck that makes the game not fun for anybody else to play.
Great Steel.
Green blue.
Yeah, so I think green blue probably gets the closest to that. Then I think dogs is just oppressive on a different axis. Um, I think you just have to cut the ceiling off of these top 3 decks, in my opinion. And I think what we see in this game most of the time is the best deck in format wins the event. I'd imagine you will see dogs or Blurple win Ghent, possibly blue green, probably not, and possibly purple steel, but also probably not. If
Purple steel just won. Sorry, go ahead.
we don't talk about this, I think this deck has enough players that it ends up doing well. However, I'm very skeptical of a new deck popping up. I do think if we cut the ceiling off, maybe that allows for some decks to sneak in, but I don't see in this current format how that would happen.
I agree. I don't think anything new is going to pop up. I think it'll be the big 3, and then a possibility of like yellow purple being there, and possibly Ruby Amethyst making it, but not to like not high. They might make day 2, but not enough to like win the thing.
Can you hear me? Okay, my beats just died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying there's going to be something drastic. Red Steel might have been a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think there's possibility for. I mean, look at the purple steel we're seeing right now pop up in the meta with Christopher Robin and pivoting to Yzma with the
Angel.
Angel. Thank you. You read my mind. With Angel. That's not the purple steel that we're used to seeing from last set. It's a completely different strategy. It's a completely different way to use the color combination. It's more of an aggressive list. That didn't really exist 2 weeks ago. In the grand scheme of the meta. But now it may be the best purple steel list. And it may change how the matchups are played. We don't know what micro decisions these color combinations are going to be. I still think it's going to be those top 3 to 5 color combinations we're still going to see do very well at Ghent. But it's those micro decisions in deck building that I think might warp the meta, which may open up the doors for other colors or other possibilities. Because if dogs is the best answer for me or best example for me. They could pivot their strategy so many different ways. They can, we might not see any chromacons do well because people are going into items, but that's okay because the good dogs players all drop them. It's those decisions in deck building that I think are going to be interesting moving forward. And I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how Ghent goes before any ban conversations need to happen. If it's dogs again and dogs win so many of these events back to back, then maybe we talk about dogs is the top deck. It's not a 3 deck format. Now something needs to change.
All right.
We'll see.
So, barring nothing changes in Ghent, what are everybody's perfect ban list, Marty, is yours still nothing?
I think the way things are currently, nothing. I think if dogs needs to get hit, I think Under the Sea. I'm going to stick with Under the Sea
Just
being
under
the
the
one.
sea.
Just to take
And see
one
how
of
it
the
goes.
avenues they have away. I don't think anything from purple is good enough on its own. I think it's a bigger problem that needs to be fixed.
Post rotation.
As soon as they can start developing cards in other colors that say draw a card
Valid.
without a condition.
Yeah, that makes sense. No marching off to battles, please. Make them better.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, how about you?
I think if we're going to ban to actually change up the meta, in my personal opinion, I think we start with Grandmother Willow. I know it's a brand new card,
But it is
you know,
uncommon.
but it is an uncommon. I think if we have to do something in purple just to like change it up, I think Genie is a start. Elsa is a bigger target. It's a bigger hit on multiple decks. I think Genie is just a good starting point. And then green and blue matchup, I think you convinced me on the big Philip being the cut, because that's just one of the avenues that's like, I want to go wide so they don't get Clarabelle hits, like Ivan said, but then they're just going to play Philip and wipe my board. So now if you get rid of that Philip wipe my board, if I'm going wide, they're going to have to, go to the John Silvers, the Basils, all that kind of stuff. So I think I'd have to go with Philip. But that would be my perfect ban list, not Daisy Duck.
Ivan?
Daisy Duck's the first to go.
Sail.
Theo.
Shout out Rachel, Daisy Duck.
Wow.
Very nice.
Daisy Duck, Sail, Genie, Maui Shark, Doc.
He's just getting rid of everything.
I'm hitting all the colors, baby. We're fair. What color am I missing?
Wait,
Daisy,
Cinderella,
Sail.
Hades, Malicious, Mean, and Scary, Big Prince.
Which Hades?
All of them.
Yeah. You're just missing green, Ivan.
Clarabelle.
Oh, okay.
I think I got all of them.
Yeah, I think so. Ending it off.
Let's hear it, Elijah.
The correct
Let's hear
band
it.
list.
Okay.
Strike them a raging fire.
Oh.
No.
Oh, he saved that for save that for the thumbnail.
Elsa, Big Prince, and Under the Sea, and see how it goes. That would be my 3. I think you hit all of those 4 decks I mentioned. It brings them down. Maybe something potentially comes up without making anybody upset about how much they've invested in a deck.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we're gonna end it. It's been a long one. It's been
A long one.
we reached 2 hours.
It was a fun one.
It was.
Oh Lord.
No,
Because we got fired up.
I was so excited about having this conversation. Like, I've wanted to talk about this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Marty, thank you for joining. It was very
Anytime,
cool to
it's a
have your
blast.
insight.
Yeah.
It was cool to have you on.
Appreciate
Yes.
it.
Yes, claps for Marty. Make sure you leave a comment down with your question for next week's episode or a future episode. We need those questions. We like discussing them.
We do.
If you want to answer a question down below, what do you guys think should be banned, if anything? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe we just wait till rotation.
Wreck-It Ralph.
I just got these now.
Well, if you want to be surgical about it, I think Lonely Grave is probably the enabler that makes
Hey, yo.
Whoa.
Specifically ban Enchanted Cold Never Bothered Me Anyway.
Yes. I'm behind that.
Ban it from the packs that I can open.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 of them locally is crazy.
All right.
2 of them.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah,
Have
I
a
have
good
to
night,
go
y'all.
rip apart Ben's Enchanted Cold Never Bothered Me Anyway. Goodbye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.